Howdy folks, James here from Rewind Electric. I know I haven't been on the social medias too much lately doing the video and such. I've had some time off for some family vacations this summer and got a little bit behind and have a big backlog of work and a lot of projects going on, so I kind of scaled back on the video because unfortunately it does just really slow down everything I'm doing a great deal. However, simultaneously there's also been some equipment upgrades, and although this is just shot on an iPhone, you can expect that when I get back into the swing of things, the sound and video is going to be a lot nicer. But I wanted to take a minute here to wish my friend Bill a happy birthday, for one thing. He doesn't know it yet, but this is going to be his gift. It's a early 80s, made in Japan, Boss CE2, and be really perfect for a lot of the 80s and 90s style music he does. He likes to travel, and I could not get him a trip to anywhere fancy for his birthday, but I thought perhaps he could do a little bit of time traveling via this guy. So yeah, anyway, what I'm here for is I was just opening up the mail and getting a bunch of tubes. So what these are here, these are tubes for, not for guitar amps, although they could be, but in my case, those are for a couple LE2A compressors, which is it's a recording thing. It's not a compressor pedal, as you may be accustomed to if you're a guitar person. However, they do basically the same thing for microphones and line level sources. And these are tube compressors, and in them they use slightly different kinds of tubes. These are BH7s, 12 BH7s, and so are these. I've got some GEs, some RCAs. EL90 would be the European designation for those. They also use 12 AX7s, ECC 83s, you might say. And what's kind of cool, they're made by Universal Audio. They have been made for quite a long time. This is a very, very old device that dates back to, I believe, the early 1960s, maybe 1962, let's say like early to mid 60s. And they were made for radio broadcasting to keep the levels uniform when people are transmitting, so that, you know, spikes in audio level on the stage or the microphone don't peak the transmitter over what its, you know, legally limited power is by whatever their license they had was, because that costs big fines, and, you know, it doesn't sound good either. So they made these things called leveling amplifiers, hence the LA that you will see in things like an LA2 and LA2A. Yeah, that would be leveling amplifier, and what that does is it just reduces the higher points of the sound by an amount that's either predetermined by the device or that you set. In the case of these, they're very simple. They're just two knob devices, and what I really like them for is not even compressing so much, although they do a fantastic job at that, but just running signal through them. They're a really cool tube amp circuit, and these are what you would call power tubes or output tubes. And so you're running through a series of vacuum tubes. It's basically like a guitar amp with some extra stuff involved. And so you're running through a tube amp circuit through your transformers and your tubes and all those good parts. And it colors the sound in, to my ears, a pleasant way. They're my favorite compressors. I like Fairchilds as well, but I have by a slight edge, I prefer the LA2s, and that's for, they're common on microphones and bass, like vocals and bass. I like them on buses. I like them on drums and mixes too. A little bit. I just like to touch the signal with it. But all that is aside from my main point here, which is to show these. When I opened this box, I was like, oh boy, I gotta fire up at least the phone camera for this one. Look how clean these are. These are not reissues. British Valve Association Mullards. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? They had these little sheets on them. I actually thought maybe these were remade boxes. I was like, wow, somebody went through a lot of trouble to make those, because, you know, I've seen before where they have the sort of client information. I've seen some RCA tubes like that too. But no, sir. These are the real deal. So these would be 1960s, I believe. Maybe 1950s. These are not dates. These numbers were written on here recently by the seller of these tubes. Well, let's see. I thought I had his card out. I might as well give him a shout. This is my first time dealing with this company. Audio Valves. They're in England, and they shipped it Royal Mail to me. But man, did it get here fast. I had this package in like 3 days, you know, something like that from when I bought it. Audio Valves in England. So there's the contact info. I'll say I bought several sets of tubes, as you can see here, at once, and these got here first, and they're coming from England, where the others came from the US. Now, I've only started to peek inside. I want to open these very carefully because these are so nice. Okay. Oh, look at this. I've seen this paper before. Oh my goodness. I've never seen it so clear and crisp though. You know, usually this stuff's in poor condition. These were not only new old stock, but these were stored very well. I'm trying to be very careful opening these up. Okay, look at that. There's the Mullard logo there, and their guarantee. Procedure for return. I don't think so. A little late for that. Wow. Mullard House, Torrington Place in London. Now, I believe these are Blackburn factory, which we'll find out in a second. I'm going to handle these with great care. Yeah, I can see. I don't know if this will come through on the video or not. Come on and focus here. But there is a B code right there. Oh, it's going to be hard to get with, like, you know, glare and such. Maybe we can zoom in. Yeah, look at that. Now you can see it super clear, right? So 3N1 is the date. B is Blackburn factory. And then you see a 5H3 following that. And that's a revision for the tube. So if they changed any specifications about it or its construction, that's the number that determines that. Now those are etched, I believe, into the glass. So they're those numbers are a lot more durable than this printed branding, which is extremely fragile. And look at the condition of that. My, that is beautiful. Wow. So I'm going to be very careful with that. Let me mention something interesting about those compressors in praise of Universal Audio today. You know, oftentimes people think of Universal Audio LA2s, they're thinking of plugins and Apollos and satellites and stuff, which is the digital simulated, emulated version of the hardware. You can't change the tubes in those yet. I bet that's around the corner. I bet it's not too far off that you can download your RCA and Mullard and GE and Kenrad and whatnot Brimar tube profiles and pop them into your modeling plugins and things. But presently you can't do that I know of. I don't know of any that will allow that. Let's go back to the zoom out here. But interestingly about those two compressors that I bought, they shipped and they're made in Santa Cruz. I think Santa Barbara. I think they're made in Santa Cruz, California. still to this day, made by hand. Turret board and point-to-point combination of the two, with the nicest parts. You can get PEC pots and like very high-end components, different types of capacitors and resistors depending on the application in the circuit. They are obviously made with a great deal of care, and they shipped with new old stock RCA and GE tubes in them. I didn't know that. I kind of like, I'm familiar with those comps, and I like buying old tubes, so I kind of knew what I wanted to do was English them up a bit. I wanted to put some Blackburn factory Mullards in there for my use in those compressors. That's the sound that I think I'll like. And of course, I'm always open to being wrong. And I've been using them with, the tubes that came in them. But how cool is that they shipped with today in 2023? These compressors from a company as big as Universal Audio shipped with new old stock RCA and GE tubes in them. I mean, that's no small feat. GE and RCA haven't made tubes. I think GE stopped making tubes in the early 80s and RCA before that. So it's not, it's a special thing that they would do that. And I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty cool. But I just want to show these. Let's open the other one. See if it's anything different about that, and then I'm gonna bounce off here because I got a lot of work to do. I'll try to get back into making these videos more. Just doing this quick one here, I'm having fun. I kind of missed it. It does take up a lot of time, but I'm gonna try and have things organized here where I can maybe just leave a couple cameras set up, hit record more spontaneously. If any of you are interested or have been waiting or looking for the PAF and Gibson history book that I wrote with music and Gibson historian Mario Milan called The PAF Humbucking Pickup from Myth to Reality, it's been back ordered, and orders were even canceled for a time, for at least months, if not a year, but it is now shipping from Hal Leonard. I've had, I think, 4 people in the last couple of days tell me that their books have shipped or arrived. Let's see, man. So if you're looking for that book, you can order it from halleonard.com. That is the publisher. I would say you can order it direct from there. Of course, it's, they're a big publisher, so Barnes and Noble, Amazon, even music stores, because CenterStream is I guess it's a subdivision of Hal Leonard, and that's what my book is actually under, which is focused on music stuff specifically, but they also publish a lot of scores and tablature and things like that. Those books are sold also at like Guitar Center and maybe your local music store. So another Blackburn code there, B5H3. That's Blackburn, and then the hardware revision. And a little harder to see the date code on this one. And that's mostly just because I'm looking through the camera at the glare here. Let's see, can we get focused in closer? Oh yeah, there we go. Something, and I'm going to read it off camera where I can actually look at it. 3N. Let's see, can you show the 3? Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Just to the left of that light glare, 3, and then the N just to the right. There it is, N. 3. Okay. Beautiful. I mean, this one's actually a little bit cleaner than the other one. Whoop, there you go. Look at that. So cool. So if these sound in that compressor, anything at all like my favorite i6-1 and i6-3 and XF1 and 2 Blackburn tubes sound in other equipment, then I'm going to be super happy, and I'll probably populate the 12 AX7 positions with those i6-1 and i6-3s. And then there's one other random tube type in there, and I forget what it is at the moment. in the compressor. Anyway, books available. Also here, while we're sitting here, I have 3 only pickup sets that I've made with new old stock purple wire. So if you look on here, these are for sale. These are available on Reverb now. They are expensive because this wire is crazy old. They're more expensive than my regular new old stock wire sets, which are already expensive. So definitely not for everybody. But if you're looking for something special, you see it says purple wire, purple PE, and then the spool numbers there. So I've got this is a 1960 A2 PAF set. I have 2 1960 A2 PAF sets. And this is nice. You can really see the 3-dimensional finishing there where the string shadows kind of come and go, and they look really dull from some angles and brighter from others. So there's one of the 1960 A2 sets. Here is another of the 1960 A2 sets. I should do a different video just for these, so I'll keep this quick. All my latest parts, the best new old stock wire that I've ever had, which is this amazing purple plain enamel wire, just like Gibson used on the PAFs in the late 50s and early 60s. Okay, so 2 1960 A2 sets and 1 creme brulee set. These are up on Reverb if you want to look at them. There's a lot more photos there showing much more detail. There we go. Look at that. I love the way the string shadows come and go in 3 dimensions. That is something true to original PAFs, and it's very difficult to do that, to make them just entirely disappear. Like you can't see them at all right there, and then, you know, say from another angle, there you go, you can see them pretty clearly. And what I'm talking about is the lines that run this way where the covers are somewhat protected under the strings and don't get as much wear as the rest. And that just takes a lot of manual labor and time and 13 years of practice for me to get that right. So those are available now on Reverb. You can buy them directly you should buy them directly from me and save yourself some money, because the prices on Reverb account for their very high fees. So if they're paid for and shipped to, if they're paid directly by credit card and I can ship to that credit card's United States billing address, then I can save you some money on that, because I don't have to pay the Reverb fees and the processing fees. You're welcome to use Reverb though. Let me show you the wire. Yeah, I'm gonna take you down off the hook. Let's hope this doesn't stop the video. Okay, there we go. Yeah, can you see me? Okay, here. Come on over here. No, that's not it. Yeah. Here's one of them. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's a Essex Wire Company. That's a spool that I've had for a little while, actually. Probably done some, certainly done some repairs on it. Here's another one. Look at that. And that's a recently acquired one that I got. And so each of those pickups has one coil wound with one spool and one wound with another of those. So the coils are wound with 2 different spools. And that's just to be true to how Gibson would have done it, because they didn't wind all 4 coils of any pickup set off of the same wire spool, almost certainly. Screws and slugs were done either at different times or on different machines, and probably likely that all 4 spools are different, but at least the screws and the slugs were likely to be different because they had several machines running several winding stations with several spools each. So that's, in my experience studying them, the wire is usually different between the two. I have some others here too. There's also some other stuff I have up on Reverb. Focus, hope that was focused on me. This is a used but recently made 2023 1960 A5 PAF set. Reverse zebra bobbins. That's up on Reverb, and it's pretty cheap. It's, you know, as far as my stuff goes, it's like $550, I think. A 1960 A2 PAF set. I think this is new. No? What? Oh yeah, those are new. They still have the plastic on the covers. Yep. Okay. A PAF1 A4 set with vintage wire coils. Now, if you look at the windows here, you can see that is vintage wire, but it's this like dark orange, kind of rusty colored enamel wire. It is not the purple wire that's more sought after. Honestly, primarily because of the color. The color was true to what Gibson used during the PAF years, so that makes it desirable. Like, does the color change the sound? No, the wire does, but that wire does sound good. Perhaps by coincidence, it's the best wire I've had. I don't think it's because it's purple. Okay, and here's another, what is this, 1960 A2 set, also vintage wire, but this is that rusty orange colored wire. And those are all up on Reverb, and those cost less than the purple stuff, just because that purple stuff is, like, those two spools are all I have, and those are two of only I think 4 spools that I've ever had in the current gauge and condition for winding PAFs. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I got stuff to do here, but good chatting with you. Take care. If you have any questions, reach out. Thank you.